Yeah, this is a popular week for vacations. Our office is empty. Everybody's got.
Camera's going. Everyone's ready? Good evening and welcome to the Maple Plain City Council meeting. It is 7:01 and I'm calling the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I am looking for a motion to adopt tonight's agenda, but before we do that, I would like to remove item A, number 10, under new business, update of the employee handbook. With that, I'm looking to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Francis,
I'll second that.
second by Fay. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. First item of business this evening is visitors to be heard. Mr. Administrator, do we have any forms for people to be heard?
No, Madam Mayor.
Okay. All right, with that, we will move on to our next item of business. And this is a CenterPoint Energy Grant. Do you want to give us a little background on this?
Yes. just
Okay.
Give me a second here, sorry.
Nope, you're good. And while the administrator's getting ready for that, our CenterPoint Energy rep was here this evening, and due to the storms and severe weather, did need to leave due to a lightning strike. So he sends his apologies and left his check in a very nice letter. So we're grateful for that and for that partnership. And I know they've donated to WIPS as well and to other organizations in the past. So it's been a busy night.
Here we go.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. CenterPoint Energy provided a matching grant to the city for their 2024 grant program, awarded $2,500. Prioritizing applications that focused on safety equipment and related projects. The city of Maple Plain submitted a grant request to assist with the purchase of a new utility locator. That locator was purchased and has been started to be used already. So we thank CenterPoint Energy for that, and we ask for a motion accepting that grant award from CenterPoint Energy.
All right. With that, I'm looking for a motion to receive the grant from CenterPoint Energy for $2,500 to be used for the utility locator.
So moved.
Moved
I'll
by
second.
Francis, second by Burek. Any further discussion? Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. And just want to reiterate again our thanks and partnership, and thank you to staff for the initiative to fill out the grant, and to CenterPoint and for being here tonight and for this. So I will give this to you at the end of the meeting, the check and the letter. All right, with that, we have a very full consent agenda this evening. Our consent agenda includes items A through K, and I am looking for a motion to approve those.
Can I
Yes, Councilmember Fay?
pull H for clarification before we get a motion to approve?
Yes, Councilmember DeLuca, you had something?
And also pull May 28th minutes.
Both workshop and council, or A and B, or?
No, excuse me, the June 24th just has a typographical error on it at Fay versus DeLuca.
On business meeting or workshop?
It was.
Business meeting.
Oh,
Business
you already
meeting.
have it?
Yeah, I've made that correction.
Okay, so there's been a correction made to the business meeting for letter
Leave it
F?
on.
We can leave that on? Okay. Anyone else have any? All right, Councilmember Fay, Do you want to address yours now or separately?
No, I'd be happy to.
All right, let's
Do
hear
we,
it.
do we do this now and then?
Yeah, then I can do them all at
Okay.
once.
It has to do with the resolution
Page 23.
for how we are going to account for absentee ballots. And we sorted through that back on 24 June. We were offered two scenarios, one in which we count all the ballots, one in which we only do it if an individual solicits the city at least 7 days prior. The minutes show that we gave direction to count all ballots, but this resolution is confusing because we're only going to count if a write-in ballot achieves a higher percentage of the least voted for candidate, which historically will never count, because a write-in ballot will never achieve an equal footing as a candidate that's on the ballot. Are you following? I mean, there may be 200 to 500 votes for a candidate. We'll never get that. So what do we move the goalposts here. What are we trying to do? Clarify.
So just to offer up some clarification, because I kind of figured that this question would come up. That was in Mexico, by the way. State statute, and it's the one that is referenced in there. I'm sorry, I don't have it right in front of me. 209. I'll give it to you in a second here. (204B.09) subdivision 3 talks about write-in candidates. So, Assistant City Administrator Kevin had brought to us two options. The governing body can make this choice to require a candidate to file a written request with the chief election official no later than the 7th day before the city election if the candidate wants to be the candidate's write-in votes, have the candidate's write-in votes individually recorded, or option 2, require that write-in votes for an individual candidate only be individually recorded if the total number of write-in votes for that office is equal to or greater than the fewest number of non-write-in votes for the ballot candidate. So those are the two options that we have, that the city has the authority to make resolutions on as far as write-in candidates, is that section there.
Okay, that's not how it was presented on the 24th. And that's not what we gave direction to do, so.
Okay, so then why don't we pull item 8?
So-
Or
Bring it
table
back
that,
to work.
oh, it has to be done by a certain.
So, if the true intention of the council is to count every single write-in that is on every single ballot, then your choice at this meeting would not to do either resolution.
Correct. The direction was count them, and when you count them, you record them. If 3 people want to vote for Joe Doe, then the record should show 3 people voted for Joe Doe. We don't need a resolution. That statute allows for exceptions to that process. And I thought at the workshop, I'm agreeing with Councilmember Fay, we had talked about count them.
Well, and from my recollection, Councilmember DeLuca, is that it was the other option, because Kevin had talked about the other option. But obviously, as someone that handles the election, I recommend that we go with one of these options. I know the election judges would probably appreciate it as well. But before you tonight, you can either approve the resolution or not, and then all. If you do not approve one of the resolutions, then all write-ins are tallied.
And that takes a lot of time and a lot of extra effort for anyone that's been an election judge. We're a small city, but it's a lot of extra work that's not necessary when you might end up with 20 people that each get one vote. And then you get the nonsense votes of Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and Scooby-Doo and all of that.
And I hear what you're saying, Councilmember Francis, and echo those thoughts, but after consensus was reached at the last meeting, I have to support consensus and can't rehash it all again.
And we are approving the June 24th workshop minutes, which say options, count all write-ins, or only count write-ins if the candidate files 7 days before the election. That's what was presented to us on the 24th. It says here, council decision, staff to draft a resolution to count all write-ins. Now, you're right, we don't need a resolution if we're gonna count all write-ins. We just continue to do status quo, which is what we've done in the past.
So I believe there was some miscommunication, and I would recommend that we pull letter H from the consent agenda.
I agree.
Therefore, I move we approve the consent agenda minus letter H,
And with your change.
and with that change.
And I will second that.
Okay, so motion by Councilmember Fay to.
No.
Councilmember DeLuca, to approve the consent agenda with the removal of letter H and the change that was noted earlier. Seconded by Councilmember Fay. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Next item of business before us this evening is accounts payable, and I will turn that over to staff. Page 32 in our packets.
There we go. All right, thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Accounts payable in front of you, we had $440,372.75 for checks to be printed tomorrow. The ACH payments that were made were $25,294.65. I did make one note on here, the meal reimbursements that are in here for reimbursements we did at the new rates and the proposed policy. I authorized that change. I mean, you guys are definitely the final authorization on that, but I just think the cost of living and the prices of things, that it would be prudent to allow that change. So I'm recommending approval of the accounts payable.
I haven't looked at the old one. Is it a nominal increase?
It's 15, 25, and 35. Breakfast, lunch, dinner.
That includes gratuity and tax and everything.
It's
Right.
I have a question.
Councilmember Fay?
On the ACH component of the AP, why so many double payment credits?
That is, I'm assuming you're talking about the Xcel Energy.
Yes.
So there was a period of time in which we signed up for the ACH for automatic payment with Xcel Energy and had checks going to Xcel Energy, but didn't get to Xcel Energy until like a month and a half before because they changed their submission address. So it would show that we've double paid the bill, but then the check would be posted, so then we had a credit, which should now all be taken care of. There was one account that had a $5,000 credit, and then I couldn't enroll that into ACH payments until that credit was a zero.
So for a select handful of vendors, we're gonna continue doing ACH?
That's correct. So XL, Optum Bank, PSN,
The credit card?
the credit card, those are all set up on automatic payments.
Okay. And it's because their payment due date varies with our fourth Monday of the month?
Correct.
Okay.
Just looking, I hope I got them all. The health insurance is the other one.
So I am looking for a motion to approve the city check batch and $440,372.75. And the city ACH check batch in the amount of $25,294.65.
So moved.
Moved by DeLuca,
Second.
second by Francis. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Next item of business tonight is staff reports, and it is time to have those in person. So we're grateful for all the staff that was able to be here tonight. Unfortunately, our city planner was planning to be here, and plans changed otherwise, his travel plans. So we're grateful for his written report and for his work. If anyone has questions for our planner, you can let Jacob know, and he will get those. Does anyone have questions for Mark or his report? Okay, next we'll move on to West Hennepin Public Safety, and our director, Chief Krause, is here tonight on page 48 in the packet.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and council members. Included is your June 2024 activity report for West Hennepin Public Safety. I'll highlight a few cases, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. For the month of June, 236 incidents were in the city of Independence, and 96 were in Maple Plain, for a total through June of 2,168 incident complaints. I'll start off with highlighting the first case, which is an arrest on June 4th, which was a fleet police. Actually started going through Maple Plain, westbound Highway 12. The person was going 72 miles an hour in a 40 zone as they went through Maple Plain, kind of between Baker Park Road and Collision Corner, that area there. Then they crossed over into Independence. The vehicle pulled over into a parking lot, and then began to flee from the officer. That led on a pursuit westbound 12 through Delano, and ended up in Montrose. A state patrol officer put out spike strips at Highway 25 at the stoplight there, which deflated the tires and brought the speeds very low, 15, 20 miles an hour or less. They were able to pit and or box in the vehicle, took the driver into custody, was under the influence, was booked for first degree felony DWI from so many previous DWI violations, and a child was found in the vehicle as well at the time after the incident. So we had to deal with everybody's uninjured, nobody was hurt, but that was a unique case, and we're just glad that the child was safe and everybody was safe and no injuries on that case. June 9th, we had another arrest. The 5800 block of Highway 12 received a traffic complaint going through Maple Plain, numerous driving violations. We found the suspect vehicle following too close, expired tabs. stopped the vehicle, found the driver's license status was canceled. The driver admitted to not having an insurance. Numerous signs of impairment were identified by the officer, and ultimately the driver arrested for DWI pending blood results. He's suspected to be under the influence of a controlled substance, and then also had 3 prior violations for no insurance on a motor vehicle. Pending charges, obviously, the blood test results in that case. I'll be brief because I'm sure Chief Dennison will be talking about the house fire in the 3500 block of Lake Huey Road. But unfortunately, we had a house fire in that area in the city of Independence where May Plain Fire was dispatched and the house was fully engulfed. And unfortunately, the homeowner was found deceased inside the home after the fact, after the fire was put out. The case is still pending on our end as far as any toxicology reports or anything, but nothing appears suspicious at this time, and just waiting on those results. June 14th, 1800 block of Bud Avenue. I just put it in here because I thought it was kind of interesting and funny, to be honest. And we were dispatched to 1800 block of Bud Avenue to take a theft report of a trailer. And as we arrived and when we started looking around, the reporting party found the trailer in the same parking lot, but somebody who had borrowed it and used it just didn't put it back in the exact same spot. So he thought somebody had stolen it. So that case was exceptionally cleared. Safety check, June 18th, intersection Highway 12 and County Road 90. This ended up being a Maple Plain residence. I bring it up because thankfully during rush hour somebody called in a younger juvenile riding an electric hoverboard on Highway 12 between 90 and 83, pulling like some kind of trailer / wagon behind it. So imagine a young child on an electric hoverboard with a trailer behind it going down the highway. We were able to find the individual, gave him a ride home, and Mom took care of everything on that particular case. We didn't have to get involved in that at all because the juvenile was told numerous times to never be on Highway 12 due to safety concerns. So that's exceptionally cleared as well. I think we'll go to June 29th, damage to property in the 5500 block of Bryant Street in Maple Plain. We're dispatched to the Old Haven Homes building in regards to a neighbor had heard glass breaking the previous evening, did not call the police, and the next morning woke up and saw that one of the storage buildings back there had a broken window, and then called it in. It's still pending further investigation, but nothing was stolen. It seems like somebody just broke one of the windows. But we encourage all of our residents, when you hear something, see something, that we are working 24/7, and we'd rather respond at the time that it's happening, and maybe we can catch some of these people in the act. Then, I hear it numerous times, well, I didn't want to call and bother you. Well, we want you to call and notify your police of what's going on. So we appreciate that when the people do call. So having said that, I'll happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, that's our June activity report.
Any questions for Director Krause? All right, thank you for being here tonight and for your work. Next, we will turn it over to our city engineer, Dave Martini.
Good evening, Your Honor, members of the council. Just a couple things to go over tonight. Generally speaking, kind of the normal miscellaneous things that we're working on, attending staff meetings, kind of some monitoring of what's happening with the County Road 19 project, just communication with staff, those sorts of things. Also still providing support for the Baker Park Villas project, and working through just some normal construction things there. We do have a meeting tomorrow, kind of working through where to put a monument sign out there in relation to some easements and things happening there. So working through that. So there's some time being spent out there still. In general, when you see the things that Mark's working on, we're kind of at least in some correspondence supporting him with his various development things that he's working on, and providing some engineering input. We have been working on the lead service inventories, had people going door to door helping line up some of those visits and putting that inventory together, working with city staff on that. As you're aware, we were looking at some drainage concerns on Howard Avenue. There's some further investigation going on there, but that's been Jacob and Dylan kind of taking it from here. But we're also working on some standards or templates related to how drain tiles, some pumps get hooked up within the city. So that work is ongoing. You'll be seeing some more related to that in the future. Some general discussions related to just water service in the community, what we have for capacity with the various projects that we have going on. We get inquiries from our neighboring communities about being able to supply water with Medina here on the east, Independence in some areas. So we've had some general discussions with that. And then we've also been working with the city of Independence, looking a little bit more in detail at some of those water questions that they have as they continue to grow. The wellhead protection plan, we actually have a meeting later this week to kick that project off with both of the Mink staff and city staff. And then lastly, the street job, as you're well aware, is ongoing here. We have the water main construction on the east end of Independence is done now. They're working on sewer, sanitary sewer on the west end, so that's progressing. The removals on Bryant and Wyman have been completed as far as grinding up the pavement, removing the curb and gutter. We're working through some utility issues down there still. The way it works out there, we have very little right-of-way on the south side of Bryant, and so that creates some issues with where the gas line's located, where poles are, that we're working through with the utility companies. I'll update you on that as things are getting tweaked and moved around a little bit to try to account for just how we do our construction with some of those utilities that are kind of in a tight corridor, don't really have a place to go. So that is what is happening. Also, Bryant and Wyman, a couple property owners that we've been engaging and talking, looking at various issues that have kind of come up from property owners just as we're going through there. Some drainage issues as to how what we're doing to lower the road, where storm sewer connections are going to be to alleviate some of those issues. We have another property that has kind of an interesting sewer setup that they brought to our attention, so we're just looking at that with them to make sure that if we're going to have that exposed, if there's anything that should be realigned or reworked there, that we're taking those things into account. So that's what I have tonight.
Well, thank you, and Mother Nature has not been kind to our.
It's been a sluggish year from a construction standpoint. It's the comment about we don't have any dust out there. It wouldn't be bad to have a week or two of dust complaints. We would gladly deal with those.
All right. Well, thank you for being here. Any questions for engineer?
All right, thank you.
Next is Public Works, and do you have anything, Jacob?
I
Or no?
don't.
Okay.
There was a couple questions at council. Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. For the Public Works report, there was some questions about the graphs. Dylan is waiting on wastewater reports from Met Council. Once he has that information, he will get it updated in the reports.
Any other questions for staff to bring back to Dylan?
What about the precipitation chart? We got missing data on that one too.
I asked him about that this morning. I didn't get an answer yet, so.
Okay. And is the Met Council seriously over 6 months behind on providing us data?
That's what I'm told.
Because we got nothing for January. I believe it's July.
I think you might find that it goes back into last year, doesn't it?
Yeah, it actually.
It's more than just this year.
We can follow up with our rep too. I know I usually meet with her once a month. We're off in July and August, but I'll see her in September.
I have a contact too that I can reach out to as well.
Okay, yeah, then we don't have to wait. Perfect. All right, thank you. Next, we'll hear from our fire chief. Chief Dennison is here tonight for the fire department report.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, council members. Good to be here. Good to see you all. You have in front of you my June report, and it has in there that this month of June for this year, we went to 38 calls for service, about 13 more than where we were last year at the same month, so a little bit ahead. And also I called out just below that, again, this year we're at a total of 177 calls for service from January 1st to June 30th. Last year, 162 calls at the same time, and 160 in the year before that in 2022. Where the calls are occurring, you can see that we're pretty much evenly split between the cities of Maple Plain and Independence as to where we're going. And then a couple of calls into some of our contract areas, Medina and Three Rivers Park District. One of the calls that I was going to talk about, Chief Crails does such a great job with calling out these interesting calls, and one of them that we went to for the fire department anyways was a call that was at Baker Park, and a 911, frantic 911 call came in about some screaming and yelling out on the lake, and fears that someone had been hit by a prop with a boat out there jet skiing. And when a couple of our fire officers had arrived at the boat launch, they could see that the boat was bringing the patient into the shore, and they were getting set up at shore to take care of the patient there. And as the boat got in, the first contact was made with the driver of the boat, and he stated that the dog had grabbed a rapala in its mouth and bit down on the fishing lure, and that's what had caused all the commotion and excitement in the lake. And so it was merely a dog caught on the line and nothing to do with any person getting hit by a boat or anything. So we're glad for that, for sure. So a little bit about training update. Again, you can see in my report here, kind of some of the time that we spent in June was just on some back to the basics and basic firefighting training. Pulling it seems so elementary, but it's just one of those skills that it's something that you need to go over to make sure that you understand how it works. And that is purely hooking a hose from a hydrant to a fire truck, and then a hose from a fire truck out to spray water out the other end. And again, for some of our younger members that have not been on for very long, just because fortunately we just don't have that much experience with needing to do this at a house fire or in certain situations, it's things that then we just need to do this at home while we're on a training night. And so that's kind of what we concentrated on in June, was again, both in a hydranted setting, like in the city of Maple Plain, where we have the little red fire hydrants that we can hook up, get water with, but it's actually a little bit more complicated process when we don't have fire hydrants, to truck water in, to drop a separate tank, to hook a truck up to that, to suck the water out of that tank and then push it through the hose. So it's a little bit different and unique circumstance and skill that it takes to understand how that works, not only from the folks that are putting the lines out, but actually the pumper operator to know how to suck that water out of the tank. Because again, fire hydrant pushes it into the fire truck, and out of a portable dump tank, the driver actually has to suck it out of that tank. So that's where our time was spent on training. Equipment-wise, our grass rig is still, our new Polaris UTV that we're getting for a grass rig is still in the process of being built. This month they had let us know that the skid, or the portion that carries the water tank and the pump that goes into the back of it, is getting built up and being manufactured. Once that's done, then it'll get sent over to our truck where it sits in Maple Grove at our outfitter at Action Radio, and they will get it installed into the unit and then get the lights and the radio connections done to it. And I'm hoping, I was hoping July, I'm hoping at the end of August, just at the mercy of them getting things put together. So, but I will wholeheartedly agree, construction has, with the weather, has not been kind to any of us, especially people that are waiting handily with a building permit in their hand. And fortunately, that has bode well for us, because we have not had the need for a grass rig for grass fires at this time, with everything being so lush and green. It's so we've been lucky, but we're still anxiously awaiting the arrival of that vehicle. So Our personnel, we have 2 people currently out on non-fire department related injuries that are on light duty. Fingers crossed, I was hoping to have a note by one of them, getting them back to full staff and being able to be back at the fire station in full capacity, so waiting for that. Merger and with the West Suburban Fire District. We've had a couple of meetings with them now, and very good meetings, very positive. We've sat down with them at the end of May, and then again in June, and a very good conversation, hearing from the West Suburban Fire District a little bit of a program as to how they, the 2 fire departments of Loretto and Hamel came together. And they have, Chief Lures has a really nice presentation that he's put together. And so we got to see that and hear from that. And not only from Chief Lure, but he had folks from both the Loretto station and the Hamel station that were there to be able to tell us how things were from both of their perspective about coming together and merging the 2 fire departments to create the district. The folks that from our fire department that have been both meetings have come away with very positive, very optimistic, very enthused, and to the point to where what was our next step at the end of June, and we invited Chief Lure to come to our fire department on July 15th, so last Monday, and give his presentation to our general population of the fire department, the whole fire department membership. And so he did that, very well received, and he is again coming back. Then what we kind of set up was in 2 weeks, August 5th, come back. And at that time, our fire department membership can absorb what he said, think about what he said, and then any questions that might come up about their process and what's happening, bring them back. So Chief Lure was gracious enough to put on his calendar to come back and see us August 5th, so that our population could ask any questions of him that they might think about in between that time. So that's where we're at with that. And the last thing I do have on my agenda, and I appreciate Chief Grails again giving some of the information, but again, this is something that I so appreciate the working relationship that we've had for so many years, and to be able to do this at this unfortunate house fire that we had, it was something that he and I talked on the phone a little bit about what was happening, and kind of coordinated some of the information and the investigative part of it, I believe. So, and again, not much more to add to what he had reported on that, other than the fact that as unfortunate as it was, our fire department was there. We had a couple of officers that were on the scene immediately. Lieutenant Doyle, who lives out on Copeland Road, was there within minutes of the call that we got. I was there shortly behind him, as was Officer Raskin from the police department. The 3 of us were there right away, and that gave us the opportunity to start setting up our tactical operation as to how we were going to attack this house fire. The members of our fire department did an excellent job with the setup and the attack. We had people come, our neighbors showed up. They lended a hand, just like we would expect. Folks from, again, the West Suburban Fire District were there, the Mountain Fire Department, the Delano Fire Department all came with personnel and water and helped us to extinguish the fire. And then again, as we finished and did our salvage and overhaul of it and did a little bit of a search, we knew that we were probably looking for a homeowner, and unfortunately the homeowner was found inside, deceased in the garage area of the fire. The state fire marshal's office was called, and they came to the scene, and I coordinated with them and turned the investigation of the fire side of it over to them to handle as required for any fatal house fire. So after that, we have our PAR 360 folks that are our counseling folks, and I made sure that they were aware that we had a tragic event there. They were on schedule to come out to our fire station anyways, which actually is for just a routine checkup, and it worked out well to have that resource and to be able to use them and to kind of key them in onto what we had gone through, and to be able to hit on that as they spoke with our members. So it worked out well that way. So and again, myself, I checked in with several of them, and yeah, everybody seems to be doing well. So that is the report that I have. I would stand for any questions.
It's always unfortunate whenever we have to use those resources, but we're grateful to have them, and we're really grateful for the partnerships with the surrounding communities and our police and fire, and so fortunate to have those services, so thank you all.
Absolutely, thank you.
With that then, if there's no questions, I am looking for a motion to receive staff reports A through F this evening.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councilmember Burek,
Second.
second by Councilmember Fay. Any further discussion or questions? That's the second time. Luca. Second by Councilmember DeLuca. Hearing no questions or further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0, and Chief's coming back.
Okay to excuse myself to go to training?
Yes, please.
Okay.
And my apologies, you weren't first. I made a note to do that from now on.
I know I got here late, and so that's
No,
worries.
you're good.
So,
You're
Thank
good.
you all.
Yep,
Appreciate
we
it.
need you down there. Thank you. All right, with that, we have no new business to come before us tonight, so our next item of business is council reports and other business. I will start with Councilmember Francis.
All right, city-wise, been kind of a quiet month. Started with Highway 12 Safety Coalition meeting, followed by workshop, and then this evening's workshop in council. In between all that, I did a week's vacation, and I need another week to catch up and recuperate from living off-grid for a week. So,
Thank you.
in fact, I forgot my passwords and everything for
Oh,
my,
no.
my computers, and it was not a good morning.
Well,
So-
welcome
but
back to
I'm back.
reality. We're glad you're back with
Thank
us.
you.
All right, Councilmember Fay.
Well, outside of tonight's workshop, business meeting, and the pending special meeting, been relatively light week or month. Attended a workshop as well as a police commission meeting on the 8th.
You mean Fire Commission?
Fire commission,
Yeah.
not police, I'm sorry. And have been quite busy with Rotary, not only business meetings, but we've had work projects over at the old Orono Public Works facility. We are taking a rather dirty room and putting a fresh coat of love into it. It will be our new storage facility for all things Orono Rotary, as well as all things local American Legion. So Orono was gracious enough to give us about 500 square feet of space with shelves, and we've been spending quite a bit of time on that, so.
It will be really nice to have a space for our flags.
Yes.
That you see often in Veterans Memorial Park, and we keep adding to that collection. So now they'll be in a temperature environment, in a clean room, not in a shed. So we're very grateful for that partnership.
Indoor,
Yeah.
weather,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
Great.
it.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember DeLuca?
This month workshops and a personnel meeting where we're helping Jacob monitor how the progress is going on the recruiting for our city clerk. And then finishing the employee handbook, and our apologies for that not being in the packet tonight. You saw the summary, but we wanted to also get you the actual document with the changes so that you can look over that. Nothing of substance, most as you saw in the summary from the attorney, most of the changes were pursuant to state statutes or laws that have changed, so that we're just continually in compliance.
Thank you.
So, as we have alluded, June is a light month. I did have the watershed meeting. I do get the fortune to sit in the police commissioners meeting tomorrow morning, which we get to dive into another wonderful budget meeting. So that's where I'm at.
All right, it is budget season. Yes, it's been a different month, but kind of some fun things this month. I was invited to Haven Homes for a picnic on the patio, so visit with the residents, have lunch with them. That's always fun. Was invited to Lindale Lutheran's Barbecue and Bluegrass. at their church, so that was a neat opportunity to visit and to mingle there as well. Jacob and I tried to meet weekly to work on agendas, so that keeps us busy. This month for regional council and mayors, Mayor Johnson and I picked up Superintendent Christy Fleschner, and we, at our meeting, was superintendents from throughout the state and mayors, and just a great reminder of, great schools need great cities and vice versa, and just how important it is to keep that dialogue open and those relationships. So that was valuable. Was able to attend Fire Commission with Councilmember Fay, was able to attend Personnel with Councilmember DeLuca. Rotary continues to keep us busy in new service projects. I am now the past president, had the privilege of serving that group for 2 years as their president, and I just really appreciate the partnership that Rotary has with the city and the school district and veterans and our legions, so just super grateful for that. Was able to attend my first League of Minnesota Cities board meeting this past month. Really learning a lot, learning about the 4M funds and all the different boards, and really look forward to those relationships and bringing Maple Plain and representing smaller cities while at the same time keeping in mind all 830 member cities. So grateful for that opportunity. Tomorrow, as Councilmember Burek mentioned, we do have police commission, but we also have another police interview. So very excited for always those opportunities, and we're grateful to be filling staff and finding quality candidates. It's been a long journey and persistence, so looking forward to continued movement in personnel with that, and hopefully soon we'll have people to introduce. Some great fun things coming up for all of our residents and for council is the museums having their ice cream social on August 3rd from 2 to 4, the Polo Classic on August 4th, Night to Night on August 6th. Chief Krales and his staff will get parties out to all of us if you're able to go. McGarry's is hosting their Golf Classic on August 12th, and then Battle of the Badges on August 19th. So there's definitely lots of things coming up, even though it's summer, so make sure to get out and meet your neighbors and support things that are going on around town. So any other business or reports to come before us this evening? Hearing none, then I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Francis,
I'll
Second.
second by Councilmember Fay. All in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Meeting's adjourned at 7:49.